Hi everyone, welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. So as you can see today we're just outside Fang's house because today we're going to be continuing my villager home decoration series. So I've already decorated my starter villagers homes, Lyman's and Fuchsia's, so if you haven't watched those please feel free to go back and watch them as highly requested by so many of you. Today we're going to be decorating my favourite villagers homes. So today we're starting off with Fang and then I'll be making another video making my absolute favourite villagers home, Ruby. But today we're starting with Fang, so here we are. So this is what the outside of Fang's home is decorated like. I'm actually a really big fan of the outside of Fang's home and I decided to decorate it like a library. I've actually had the exterior of his home decorated like this for a very long time, so I don't think I'm actually going to be changing the house exterior design today because I actually really like the colours, and Fang's home decoration outside is actually one I've had for so long and never wanted to change because I'm just really happy with it. So it's one of the few areas on my island that I haven't desperately wanted to change constantly. So this is how I'm going to leave the outside, and I'm going to be using this as a bit of inspiration for the interior of his home as well, so that's why I thought I'd just show you all how it looks today before we get into the decorating. He has his snow globe out here, which you've probably all heard me talk about a million times, but it's a very special item between me and Fang. He gave me in New Leaf before he moved away, and then he gave me again when he moved in New Horizons, so the snow globe is a very important object in our friendship, so I'm hoping to be able to include that on the inside as well. But anyways, yeah, let's head off and get decorating. Oh, you'd like to put some new home designs to a resident? We can certainly arrange that. Who would you like to talk to about redesigning their home? Fang, alright. Then let's call him over here and get his thoughts on the matter. Here he is in his lovely little glasses. What do you think? Are you okay trusting Lulu with your home? Go for it. I've had a hankering for a change of scenery lately, so this will be perfect, Flower. Aw, yay! Oh, glad to hear it. Your house is in good hands. Leave everything to Lulu and me. Let's go! Oh, you don't want to work on the exterior? Okay, I'd like you to imagine Fang's home. Once it's clear in your mind, I want you to describe all the ideas you have for its interior. Alright, let's get down to business. Tell me what you have in mind for Fang's home. Let me know when you're done or if you'd like to work on remodelling the home's exterior. So here we are in Fang's house. I actually really like Fang's house and I think they've kept it very similar to the way his home has been designed in previous games. So before we get into changing it, here is what his house looked like in the old games. So originally he did have some vases and drums and plants. And then when it came to New Leaf, he went for all the imperial style furniture, and again he kept the vases and things, which actually looking back at this, I'm not sure if it suits him very well. For me personally, I'm more familiar with the home he had in New Leaf, which has the classic bed and still plants and things, and the snow globe, which of course is a very important item which I've told you all about already. And just for me personally, I think his house in New Leaf suits him a lot more. I'm sure those of you who have fond memories of him from the GameCube or City Folk era maybe prefer that house, but no matter what you prefer, today we're going to be decorating for my Fang, and for my Fang I do think the classic style furniture kind of suits him, especially with the way I've decorated his home outside. So I think I'm going to go with that sort of theme, and as you can see in New Horizons they kind of stuck with that, so I haven't been desperate to change Fang's home because I do think it's quite cozy in here, but we're going to be decorating it today anyway because why not? So as always with these house designs, I'm going to head off and let future me do a voiceover while you watch the speed build because I usually spend quite a long time decorating. I hope you enjoy the speed build and I'll speak to you at the end when I give you a tour of the house. Hello and welcome to the speed build. So today we're decorating Fang's house, which I was very excited to do. So at the beginning of the speed build you may just see me moving around the furniture for a very long time because I honestly wasn't sure on getting rid of any of it. I thought I would maybe keep it all. Eventually I did change things up drastically. So honestly this may have been the most difficult villager home design I've done so far, since these villager home designs on your island are a lot more difficult than the ones you do in Happy Home Paradise because you only have such a small space and you still want your villager to be able to walk around in their house, so you do have these limitations on you, not like in Happy Home Paradise where you can just make whatever you want basically. I mean, if I really wanted I could decorate Fang's house so it's so full that he couldn't walk around it, but that just wouldn't make me happy. So like I said previously, I was very inspired by the way I decorated the outside of Fang's home, which if you couldn't tell is themed after a library. I like to imagine that Fang's house acts as a community library. He has many books and he lets everyone on my island share his books and come rent them out and read what they like. You can come hang out at his house and read with him, and I wanted to recreate that sort of feeling inside. But while I was doing this, I also was really struggling because I really wanted you to be able to see the house and think of Fang, which I think it's so difficult to achieve with this furniture because this furniture is classic. It can go with so many different villages. So I was trying to fit in his sort of colour schemes into the house as well, the blue, grey and white. And this is something I struggled with for so long. I may have to cut a lot of the building process out of this video because I was decorating for such a long time. I'm so glad I did a voiceover rather than just talking while I was decorating because I would have been there for hours. But yeah, I was actually really struggling with this because I had no plan going into this because as you guys know, when I build villagers' houses, I do like to plan out what I'm going to do. Last time I didn't plan at all what I was going to do with Fuchsia's house, and it turned out to be one of my favourite villagers' houses I've decorated. So I thought I'm just going to do the same thing this time. Big mistake on my part because I had no idea what I was doing, but you can probably tell from me just faffing about and not placing any items for ages and not knowing what wallpaper or anything I wanted to use. So you will see me struggle for a very long time with what wallpaper or flooring and what colour scheme I'm even going for, which is a big struggle until quite near the end actually. So I wasn't sure whether to use brick walls, wood walls, because I wanted it to feel cozy. One of the items I desperately wanted to include was the bookshelf because I thought if it's going to be like a library, cozy, classic home, he needs to have the bookshelf. He has a bookshelf outside his house as well, and so I really wanted to include that, but whenever I was placing it anywhere I felt like it was feeling really boxed in. I felt like I couldn't put any furniture in front of it. I just wasn't sure what I was doing. I also wanted to include a bed and a kitchen area, which made it even more difficult because if I was just building a library, I could just put bookshelves all around the walls. I could have sofas in the middle and a coffee table and that would be it. But I still really wanted him to have a bed, and I really wanted him to have a kitchen as well, to be honest, because as much as Fang is a grumpy old man type character, I don't think he would let you come over and read books without making you some coffee or cakes or some nice cozy food to eat. I had all these ideas jumbling about in my head and was just really struggling with how I was going to do that all and still make it look like Fang's house. I think I did a really good job with Fuchsia and Lyman's house, where you can look at their house and think, yes, that suits them because the colours suit them and all the decorations suit them. But with Fang it's so difficult because to get a cozy vibe with his colour scheme is very difficult, and I didn't want to lose the essence of his previous home designs, and so that's something that drastically changed the final outcome of this house actually. I had to think about whether I wanted to make him an entire new sort of home design just so it suited his colour scheme and that it was clearly Fang's home, or did I want to keep the themes from his previous home designs in old games because that's what he likes. And eventually, you might be shocked to hear this, I did actually decide to stay with what his house was like in the old games because I just love that classic furniture set and I love to be able to use it whenever I can. But you will see me for quite a while with a completely different sort of idea I was going for. And looking back at this, I think the colours are so nice. I'd really like to try again with this house actually because these colours are so nice. I just really wanted to be able to fit them in a way that looked right, but I couldn't figure it out. So I went with the snowy window wallpaper, which I struggled with for a while. I tried placing pillars and different walls inside. I wasn't sure which wall to make the accent wall, but after putting down this snowy window wallpaper, I thought that it just felt so much like Fang. Then I started to change the colour scheme of everything. I gave him the really lovely rustic Harvest Day, or should I say Turkey Day? I can't remember what it's called in this game. I think it's Turkey Day. Flooring, which matches this wallpaper really well. And then I thought that the fireplace should be grey to match it, and then everything started turning grey, which really suits Fang, I think. So then I changed his sofa, which I was having trouble picking out a sofa for quite a while, but then I found this perfectly coloured one that has like dark brown wood on the sides and the gold and the grey cushioning of the sofa. And man, I wish I could have made this work because looking at it, I'm like, that looks so much like Fang. And now I'm sort of regretting my decisions. Maybe I should have gone with the grey snowy theme house instead, but I really wanted to keep the essence of his old home, you know? So eventually I do change that. You may be looking at it thinking it looks good because I'm looking at it thinking it looks good, but while I was creating it I was like, this isn't working. It doesn't match any of the bookshelf items, which is what I kept thinking, because the bookshelf you can only get in certain colours, and I just wish there was a grey or something that would fit this better, because as much as the grey fireplace and grey sofa go with the wallpaper and flooring so lovely and suit Fang so well, I couldn't get them to match hardly any other furniture items in the game, which was making me really sad because I really really wanted him to have that classic bed, which to make more room I did decide to slim down to a single bed in the ranch set, because if you decorate the ranch set to be dark brown, it looks just like the classic furniture set. I thought this could be like a little replacement for his classic bed. It looks just like it but single. It gives us more room to decorate with. You'll see me struggling with this for a while. I just really couldn't figure out what I was doing here. At one point I planned to have bookshelves either side of the fireplace, and then I couldn't figure out what I wanted above the fireplace. Oh my goodness, I was struggling so much, guys. I tried so many different paintings but none of them fit. Decorating with these bookshelves is actually so much more difficult than you think. So then I was trying to change up the accent wall. I thought of having a white polka dot wallpaper because I thought it looked like snow, and I couldn't figure out in the end what I wanted. I think eventually I end up just having the other brick wallpaper that sort of matches the snowy one. It's not the exact shade. I would really like a nice grey brick wallpaper that matches it perfectly, but I'm not sure we have that in the game, so I had to go with this creamy white brick wallpaper in the end. Looking at Fang's recommended furniture items, he had the grandfather clock listed as one of his recommended items, so I thought I'd include a really antique looking wall clock. I would have given him the big grandfather clock, but I've already included that item in Barbara's house design because she's had that in her house since like the beginning of time, so I had to include that when I built her house, and I didn't want to include it in both of their homes, and I felt like it would take up too much space that could be used for books and things, which is the theme I really wanted to go for in this. So now you'll probably see me struggling with the kitchen for a while. I really wanted to use this old-fashioned stonework kitchen because I thought the white and the brown just screamed Fang's home to me. It just looks like something that Fang would have in his house, so I desperately wanted to use this kitchen. I think it's so cute, and I'm thinking about using this in my own kitchen in the game. I'm not too sure yet, but I'm a really big fan of this kitchen. I think it's adorable. I started to add in some little accessories and decorations into his house. Like I really wanted to use these blue Christmas stockings because I think blue is one of Fang's favourite colours, and his house looks very cozy, Christmassy sort of. So I thought some Christmas stockings would be a really nice decoration. I struggled with finding where to put these Christmas stockings for a long time. They became a bit of an issue for me, not gonna lie, because where else do you put stockings except above the fireplace? But then all the ideas I had for how his home was going to look, it wasn't working above the fireplace. Oh my goodness. I'm sure you're just watching me absolutely struggle while I was decorating this. While you're watching me struggle to decorate Fang's home, I will tell you all a bit of my own personal story with Fang and why he is one of my favourite villagers, for those of you who haven't already heard the story before. So, Fang is a villager that I never really interacted much with as a child. I do remember him in the old games, but I was so interested in like the really cutesy characters when I was younger. I loved Cookie, the dog, the pink dog. I had a crush on Camo Frog for some reason. I had no memory of that, and then if you guys watched my video where I revisited my old childhood city folk town, I found love letters to Camo Frog, so apparently I had a crush on Camo Frog, which is really funny to me. But yeah, my friendship with Fang didn't properly form until New Leaf, so it's a pretty new experience where he turned out to be one of my favourite villagers. So basically, back when Fang lived on my island in New Leaf, I didn't really have anyone in real life to be my friend. This is the case with most of the Animal Crossing villagers are my favourites. Usually I became close to them in the game at a point where I didn't have anyone in real life. At this time I was struggling with a lot of things mentally, and school life was awful, home life was awful, but in Animal Crossing I had my lovely villagers to keep me company, and Fang moved in. And Fang moved in right opposite my house in New Leaf. I was kind of annoyed actually because he filled up a space right in front of my house, which I wish I could have put trees and cute things there. If you didn't know, in New Leaf you don't get to decide where your villagers move in, they just decide where they're going to be, and he decided he wanted to live right in front of my house, so I was not happy about that. But as time went on, me and Fang became really close, and I was just excited to speak to him every single day in the game. Every time I played, I looked forward to going and visiting his cozy house with his big cozy bed and saying hello to him and chatting with him, running errands for him, and we just became super close. He gave me his photograph, and I was just really happy to be friends with him basically. Then came one day, I logged into the game, and Fang told me he was moving away. Now this is the most depressing thing in Animal Crossing history, as I'm sure you all know. In the old games you didn't get to decide whether they moved away or not. I begged him to stay, he said he was still gonna go, and I was so upset. I genuinely cried for a couple of hours, as I think I must have been like 14 years old, 15 years old, and I was sobbing because Fang was moving out of my Animal Crossing island. And before he moved away, he said he'd never forget me. He sent me a letter with a snow globe inside so that I'd always remember him, and I was so happy because he had that snow globe item inside his house, and he gifted it to me before he moved away. So I kept that snow globe in my New Leaf house next to a picture of him, and it's still there today if you go and visit my New Leaf island, which you can't do because I don't have a public dream address. But if I went back and showed you guys my New Leaf town today, my little house would still be there, and my picture of Fang with the snow globe next to it would still be there, and I missed him terribly on the island. I didn't have his amiibo card back then. Yeah, it was just really sad. We had a lovely friendship, and I was so excited when I finally got him back in New Horizons. And after he'd been living on my island for a couple of weeks, he came up to me and said, "Oh yeah, I forgot there's something I've been meaning to give you for a while now," and gave me a present, and it was the same exact snow globe. And I just think, what are the chances of that happening? In New Horizons, it's completely random what item the villager's going to randomly gift you, and it turned out to be the special item that I cared so much about. And I just think magical things like that happening in Animal Crossing is so lovely. I think it's something that makes the game feel so unique, and everyone has their own special bonds with villagers, their own ideas of what they're like, and that's why I think it's so lovely that we now get the opportunity to decorate their homes in the game and decide how we think their personalities would be expressed in their home, because everyone has their own different experiences with these characters. And I just think it's so lovely that just these little animal characters in a game can connect with people so much. At least for me, the villagers in Animal Crossing have helped me out massively, especially as a little kid who didn't have many friends, as a neurodivergent little girl that didn't fit in and had extreme social anxiety and wasn't able to make friends. Being able to go to a game where the animals actually spoke to me, even in the GameCube version in Wild World where they might be mean to me sometimes, I found it so much fun that I was even able to talk to these people. I liked that the villagers would be mean to me because it felt like a real life interaction. I was just happy to be able to experience it, and I just found it so much fun. And anyways, I love Fang. So let's get back to the decorating, as I'm sure you've been watching me decorate for a while now. So I decided to start placing down some book items, which I think really started to piece the house together. I did think about adding this bonsai table because I thought the wood colour really suited the sofa I'd chosen for him. Then I was changing up his bed to be the sloppy bed because I felt like the wood colour was the only one that matched the sofa as well. But I was a bit sad about it because I used the sloppy bed in Fuchsia and Lyman's house. I didn't want to use it again in Fang's, even though it does suit the sofa so well. And like I said, I was really set on having that classic bed vibe because it just reminds me of Fang so much. Eventually I did use the ranch bed, but like I said previously, I think the ranch bed just looks like the classic bed, just a single version, so I think I can get away with that. I did think about adding a chess table, and if I was making Fang's house in Happy Home Designer where I was able to make it bigger, I think I definitely would have added a chess table because it just suits his house so well. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough room for a chess table and a place for him to sit and eat, so I do have to get rid of that eventually. I did think about changing his kitchen items to a fridge and an oven, but I felt like this didn't fit in with the home vibes as well, because I was really trying to go for that rustic, cozy vibe. When I was going for this grey colour scheme, I had this like grey stone wallpaper, which I think looks really good with this snowy one and this flooring. Colours match so well, but I just couldn't get any of the bookshelf items to suit this, and it was making me so sad because, especially watching this back now, I think this looks amazing, this colour scheme, the grey and the brown. Damn, I really wish I did something with this because I think this looks so good looking back on this. When I was in the moment, I thought it looked awful and nothing matched, but now watching this back, I think it looks really good. Now I kind of regret changing it, but I just genuinely couldn't get the bookshelf or any other bookshelf type items to match this grey colour scheme, so that's why eventually I go back to the brown and white. But I am happy with it being a brown and white colour scheme because it does match the outside of his house, and like I said at the beginning, I really like the way I decorated the exterior of his home. I'm happy that it kind of matches as you go inside as well. So eventually I do change the entire colour scheme back to the classic furniture style. Originally he did have a big cream sofa in his house, so I decided to give him a cream sofa again. It's a different sofa style but the same colours, which I think look really nice. I'm actually a very big fan of white and cream coloured sofas. I grew up with cream leather sofas, which were actually really gross looking back on it because they would get really dirty and you could see all these like black marks in them. That's the sofa that my mum had in our house growing up. Eventually she changed to a black colour scheme. My mum's house is very like dark, so when I moved out I was very excited to make my house very white. So I have a lot of basic like white IKEA furniture in my house, but it just is so bright and lovely for me because I just lived in a dark house for so long that I was very excited to finally live in a bright white house, so I personally have a white sofa, which by the way is so hard to take care of, especially if you have a cat that throws up on it constantly, like I do. I love white sofas even if they're difficult to take care of. So I was very happy to give Fang a lovely beautiful cream sofa. I think he would be the type to have one as well. One little item that I was really happy to include was the little Autumn's Bounty mobile. I love this item with the pine cones and acorns hanging on strings. I think it's adorable, and I'm always happy if I get to use this in a home because it's just so cute. And even though his house design is like snowy outside, I think the pine cones just suit it so well. I think they can go really well with a winter and autumn design. After I changed the colour scheme up, it just felt so warm and inviting in his home, and I think it just feels really perfect for autumn and winter time. I do decide to give him a teacup with coffee in. I decided to customise it to have the green patterns on it. I have the same one outside. I think this teacup looks so adorable on the log stool or on any stool. It just looks super adorable, and I really like the little green decorations on it. I think they bring in the green colours of the books and plants in the room really well, and even the little trees in the snow globe as well, which I almost forgot actually when I was building the house, because I struggled with the colour scheme of the house for so long. I almost forgot about the snow globe, which wouldn't have mattered too much since I did put the snow globe he gave me New Horizons outside his house, but I thought it'd be fun to have one inside as well as another reference to the story I told you guys earlier. I did think about giving him a big grandpa armchair. I could definitely see Fang having a big grandpa style armchair in his house, but I felt like it was boxing the room off too much. So eventually I just decided to give him a little ottoman instead, which you can sit on when you visit him, or he can put his feet up on while he's relaxing on the sofa in front of the fireplace. I decided to move the log stool next to the bed as a bedside table, and eventually gave him this vintage stool as a coffee table in his living room. I put some little books in the kitchen rather than more food items because I thought they looked like little cookery books, and I really like the colour of them. I think they just look like an item Fang would have and carry around with him. And then I gave him a little Autumn's Bounty lamp for his bedside table, which is white, and I just think suits him so well. I love it. It looks so adorable. I love to use this item a lot in my fairy house designs. I think in this home especially it looks really cute. One thing I wasn't sure of in this house is what music I was going to include in Fang's home. I actually like the music that's plays in his home, but it is a little bit loud. As you guys know, I'm a bit sensitive to noise, so I was excited to be able to turn the music down in his house. I did actually at first decide to give him the music he has in his house originally. Even when I turned the song down to the lowest volume, I thought it wasn't suiting the cozy vibe of his house, so eventually I did change it to a different song, which you'll hear in the background during the tour, and I think it suits his house a lot better. And yeah, I think I've been rambling for way too long now, so why don't we actually head to past me, who will give you a tour of the house. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching me build this one, by the way. I had so much fun designing it, and as you guys know, speed builds are some of my favourite videos to make because I just love decorating, especially for characters that I love so much like Fang. So yeah, anyways, I've been rambling too long, so I'll leave you be and let you go see the finished home. Okay, so here we are in the finished home design. What do you guys think of Fang's lovely cozy home? I think it's so cozy in here. It feels much more library-like. I was thinking that Fang's home was actually okay at first, but now that I've decorated it, I've realised how empty it was because now it feels so much cozier. So over here in the corner he has his library, his bookshelf, so many books over here, and his little dining room table where you can see he's eating some lovely warm cozy soup or stew, which is perfect for this time of year. Here is his living room where he has music, books, figurines, his snow globe, he has some blue Christmas stockings on the wall, and he has a painting of Starry Night, which I think brought in the colours on the side of the room to the centre of the room really nicely. Starry Night looks so good in this house. I'm really obsessed with how it looks. So over here is Fang's kitchen, and he has some cookery books by his stove and some added shelves above the stove as well. He just has one chair for his table because he's a pretty lonely guy. I'm sure he'd let you sit with him in his living room when you come to visit. And here's his little bed. It's just a single bed now, but still very cozy looking. I gave him some grey and white patterned bedding and a really lovely Autumn's Bounty lamp. He also has a reindeer decoration on the wall and the Autumn's Bounty mobile above his bed as well. I gave him these antique style lights and lots of hanging plants. I think I managed to sort the colour scheme out in this house really good in the end. I struggled with this for a long time, but I'm really happy with how it looks actually. It feels very artsy, and I just love the way that the bookshelf blends in really well with the fireplace and music player and the painting. I think all the colours go together so nicely, and yeah, it just feels so cozy and lovely in here. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope you all enjoyed watching me build it, and I hope you'll like how it looks as well. I feel like it's so much nicer to come visit Fang now and help have a cup of coffee or some stew with him and just chill out by the fireplace and read some books. I definitely feel like this suits Fang's personality a lot more now, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. It feels so cozy and lovely in here, so lovely for autumn time. So yeah, that's the end of his house design. Oh wait, I almost forgot to polish things. I did forget this last time in Fuchsia's home design. I'm not going to forget it this time. You can't leave without making his snow globe nice and sparkly. And I think I'll make some of his items nice and glowy as well. I think it adds to the cozy effect. Alright, so now that everything's polished, we can actually leave. I hope you guys like how this looks. Please let me know what you think of it in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. Thank you all so much for joining me to decorate Fang's house today. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm so happy with how this one turned out. I struggled a bit for a while, but I think it turned out really lovely in the end. Such a lovely cozy home to build. I hope you all enjoyed watching it because I love being able to build cozy homes like this. It just makes me so happy now that when I go to visit Fang, I'll actually have more stuff to look at in his house, and I feel like he's going to be so much more comfortable now in his home. If you have Fang on your own island, I'd love to see how you've decided to decorate his home, so please feel free to share your own Fang's home designs with me on social media, or any village's home designs with me. You can share them with me on Instagram or Twitter. I'd love to see them. And please let me know in the comments how you're doing today and what you thought of this design. Please let me know who your favourite villagers are and if you've decorated their homes. I'd really love to hear about it. Before I go for today, I would just like to say an extra special thank you to my lovely Patreon supporters for supporting me this month. You guys have really helped me out so much with your support. Thank you all so much. Especially at this time of year, there's so many more things I have to pay out for, so your support's been helping me out so much. Thank you so much for keeping me and my cat nice and warm this autumn. It's really meant the world to me. Thank you all so much. You are the sweetest angels. And to the rest of you, I hope you're having a super lovely and cozy day today. Please remember to take care of yourself. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing, only if you want to though. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll speak to you on my next video. Bye!